This program contains language that is intended for mature or immature audiences. Anyone affiliated with this train wreck of a show assumes no responsibility for its content. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to hide the kids and pop the top on a cold one. Coming to you from the extravagant studio at SAA Productions in Charleston, West Virginia, please welcome the inebriated cast of Section 304.
Welcome in, everybody, to Section 304. And, of course, we're drinking beers and talking ears, and we're proud to be the official podcast of beer-drinking mountaineers everywhere. I'm Anthony Lewis, and I'm joined in the studio today by Matt Durrett. Woo! The nature boy, Matt Durrett. And John Crum is here in the studio. And, of course, producer Steve is turning the knobs for us, as he does every week. Welcome into episode number 5, everybody. And today, we've got a pretty good show. I think I'm feeling pretty good, and the guys are feeling pretty good, too, after that ball game today. So in today's show, what we're going to talk about is the ass-kicking we gave Maryland yesterday. We'll hear some comments from Coach Holgerson about the game, about what's coming up. My good friend and WVU great Brian Jozwiak will join us to talk a little bit about WVU football, his days in Morgantown, and he's also we'll ask him a little bit about what this Maryland game means to the guys from Maryland and people in that area. And, of course, Diddy will hand out his beer of the week.
The beer of the week, that's what everybody waits for, right? I mean, that's why people listen to the show, I think. They want to see who in the hell am I going to hand that beer of the week to.
Well, hang on to that.
If I have any beers of the week left to hand out. Yesterday was a rough one for me, Lou. You know, I mean, I didn't get to drink very much. I was the driver. That's never going to happen again, ever.
Well, I appreciate you driving. I never get to just go up and back. But yesterday, I tell you what, man, yesterday was the perfect football day. It's probably the best time I've had at a Mountaineer game. Everything was just perfect yesterday.
Great weather. For a big man like myself, I don't like to get too hot. I don't like to sweat. I didn't even have to use my sweat towel yesterday. I carried it because I'm very superstitious, and I have, I guess you could say, a uniform that I wear to every game until we lose. So the sweat towel is part of the uniform, so I carried the sweat towel with me, but I didn't have to use it. It was great weather.
I thought we had an official tailgate yesterday, and we had lots of people stop by. So if you swung by to say hello, thank you guys. It was a great time just getting to talk to people, and I had a great day.
I thought the weather was absolutely perfect. The 3 p.m. start was great too. You didn't have to get in there too early. You could enjoy yourself. It didn't get too hot either, so I had a great time.
I got to tell you, even with it not getting too hot, though, I still should have put on some SPF. I never felt really hot, but I look at myself today. I got what I like to call a tan. Most people would call it a good burn.
A good burn.
But I can live with that. It was a great day all around, and I mean, what just a tremendous ass kicking it was to put on the Turtles, and there's no better team to kick the shit out of than the Border War right across the lines and send them home crying to their mamas.
I enjoy beating Maryland. I mean, it's since we're in the Big 12 now, we don't have a regional game to really kind of look to, and we've been playing Maryland a long time, so I like and enjoy beating the shit out of Maryland, especially since when I worked at WVU and was in the Mountain Sports Network, we used to have to go over there. And let me tell you something. There's a lot of asshole fans out there.
Their fans suck.
They're top 3 as far as being pricks.
How about closing out this series until 2020, 9 out of 10 wins? I mean, we were talking last week about Maryland being a barometer, how the programs used to be even, and now we've closed out 9 out of 10. I mean, we recruit against them in Maryland, like Tavon, William Crest.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a recruit and you have the choice between West Virginia and Maryland, why would you choose Maryland?
I just want to side note this. That's the first time anybody's brought up Willie Crest, and it wasn't me.
Well, when you're recruiting guys out of that area, there's a lot of talent out there. But I tell you what, when I first started, when Rich Rodriguez first came in 2001, Maryland was kicking the shit out of us, and they bent us over 2 times in one season one time, and it was not within the program. It wasn't a good time, and that was in Rich and Ralph Region had a little bit of a a rivalry.
I don't think Dana and Edsel like each other very much either.
No, and we'll get to some of that. We're going to play some Holgerson. He took a little dig at him, but I'll tell you, man, when they beat us down pretty good a few times, and it took until that overtime game when Rasheed threw that slant to Chris Henry to kind of get the monkey off our back, and we've been on their ass ever since. Really,
the worst part of them beating us was they were doing it with a guy who transferred from our team, and when he got us twice in 1 year. That's really just a little salt in the wound. Scotty McBrien wasn't good enough to play here, and then he goes to Maryland and he crushes us twice in a year. That's a little hard to handle.
I don't know if he wasn't good enough to play here.
He wasn't good enough.
He was good enough.
He was
trust
good.
me.
He looked good in 2000 when he filled in for Brad Lewis. And
he just, what it was Rasheed was his guy, was Rich's guy. That was his style of offense. He was good enough, and he obviously proved it because he kicked the shit out of us 2 times in a row. Yesterday, I thought we looked great on offense. I haven't seen our offense come out and click like that in a long time. Early
field goals were touchdowns yesterday, and
exactly.
that put the game away so quickly.
Can we talk about number one? He's looking a lot like a number one that we used to have, who was a first-round pick and now plays on Sundays. I mean, the guy's showing the speed. He's toasting one of the best corners in the Big Ten. And, he just put on a show out there yesterday. Shelton Gibson has arrived, and he is a bad, bad dude.
Well, like I said in the first week, if he doesn't come on board, we're going to be in trouble, and he is performing, and that's why we look so good. I mean, he had 6 catches yesterday for 118 yards, and Truck's a cheerleader all in the way to the end zone.
He left Will Likely in the dust on that go route, which Skylar Howard audibled. I thought that was great. They were showing blitz, and
Will likely got burnt the whole
you have to respect
game.
You have to respect the deep ball against us because we got home run hitters.
Will likely can't cover Shelton Gibson. Bottom line,
no.
I think Shelton Gibson's going to be a tough cover for anyone in there. And the best part about it is, you then look, maybe they double up Gibson, and then you find DeKill Shorts or you find Javon Durant, and you just keep it moving.
Well, one of the things that Dana talked about in his postgame yesterday is Durant didn't start yesterday.
Yeah, he said Mathis had a better week of practice, and Durant's still a true freshman. So
he's still in the game.
I mean, he's playing. I mean,
he had a great
when you don't start a wide receiver, it's not that big of a deal. But he didn't start yesterday, which makes me wonder: did he come out and maybe get a little bit of a big head and kind of started slacking off, or maybe Mathis just stepped up his game and wants to be the starter?
Well, I mean, it like you said, it doesn't really matter at receiver. There's 3 or 4 of them out there at all times. You can pretty much rotate that group, I think, and get the same amount of production from each. And I don't think him not starting is going to hurt him. He realizes he's a true freshman, and if a guy has a better week of practice, he knows he's going to get in the game. I mean, it's not a huge deal. He made his place.
Numbers wise, as you steal my notes, numbers wise, he didn't have I think he only had 2 catches yesterday for 18 yards, but he had a nice 15-yard
grab on third down to move the chains,
which was key.
Yeah.
But yeah, Shelton Gibson, man.
Then let's talk about the quarterback. God damn, I'm eating shit again, aren't I? I really am.
I'm going to see if we can get you what size jersey you wear, my man. We're going to get you a Sky-Ho jersey.
Here we go again with bringing up my size.
I'm going to order.
I think you guys back the fuck off.
A staple of your Sunday morning breakfast is a shit sandwich served. By Skylar Howard.
It's been eaten because this guy's he's putting up numbers at an alarming rate. I mean, yesterday he goes 21 for 33 with 4 touchdowns and 294 yards. Finally got that first pick, though. I'm glad he got that off his back before we start Big 12 play.
Well, and if you see
it's not his fault.
That wasn't.
No, the thing that stands out for me about Skylar Howard is the decision making is so good. There hasn't been a play where he just throws one up into coverage. I mean, he's
very
decision making. He knows the offense. He knows exactly what Dana wants out of him, and I mean You watch him step up in the pocket. He looks like a big-time quarterback.
Yeah, and that was, I think, a couple of the key things was yesterday. If the pass was there, he was able to use his feet as always and get out of trouble.
The good thing about him using his feet, you and I talked about it a while back, and Crum may have been there too. I said, well, what do we do if he gets hurt? Yesterday, he's sliding.
Yes,
he's showing he's not going to take those shots. He's not going to put himself in position
unless they cheap shot him out of bounds.
Well, Dana said that the big hit only fired him up. He's a competitor. He's a gamer. He loves it. But I still don't like him taking hits.
No, you don't want that. And in on the rushing game yesterday, I thought I think the Russell Shell experiment is over for Dana.
Let's hope.
I think
he had a good day. I think he's 1B and Smallwood's 1A.
Yeah.
And Shell had 110 total yards. He had 2 big catches. I mean, he still averaged about a little over 5 yards a carry. He looked better.
Well, one thing, Smallwood stepped up when he ran for about $147 yesterday. But one thing I did notice too, and it looks like they're focusing on it, is the fact that Shell didn't dance yesterday.
No.
He got rid of his glitter glove and his glitter socks and is running north and south and not east and west. And I like that. He ran hard. I thought it was a better day for him. I'm not going to get on his case, but I just think Smallwood's the man back there.
I want to retire the number 7 completely. Just get him off the roster.
No, man, he had a good day yesterday. I mean, he had 78 yards.
Another thing with Shell, though, is he comes in running situations. When he's in the game, the defense is playing the run. So that's, we have Wellman and Cody Clay in there blocking for him. The defense is a little more, I guess in the scouting report, they know he's going to run the ball. So it's easier to stop.
Yeah, he ran for 5 yards.
Yeah, he looked a lot better. He looked a lot more confident. He was running north and south. He wasn't dancing.
If he runs north and south.
And how about that touchdown run? Second effort, he got stuffed, bounced it back. I mean, he can do a lot of things for us.
If he runs north and south and continues on the path, he's headed in the right direction. So, but I think he's the 1B guy. I think the Smallwood
1Z. He should be sitting at the end of the bench cleaning cleats. The guy's not very good.
I'm not going to go down that.
I just went down that road.
Agreed to disagree on that.
I don't.
He's solid.
I don't vibe with his running style. I don't vibe with his game. I don't like the way he plays. I don't think he brings much to the table. I think it should be Smallwood all day.
All right. Well, what we'll do is we'll jump in to listen a little bit of what Coach Holgerson said, and like you said, him and Randy Edsel are not good friends. And I think maybe he thinks that Maryland tried to run it up on us a couple years ago and gave us a big shit burger.
We tried to run it up on them too yesterday.
Well, yeah.
We fake punted in the third quarter up 38-0.
Yeah, he was sending a signal yesterday, and in the press conference, and you'll hear it, we'll run it, and we're going to play it real fast, but Dana talks a little bit about this team remembering 2 years ago and a little bit of payback, and you'll hear the laugh from the press because after his comment, he gives a wink and a smile to the media, and everybody kind of giggled a little bit. So let's dive into that real fast.
One big thing about yesterday that stood out to me was balance. We had 304 yards rushing, 297 yards passing. I mean, that's what Dana wants to do, and he achieved that yesterday. And we could have probably scored 75 points if we wanted to, but I thought we looked a little unfocused in the second half, but when you're up 38-0 at halftime, it's
took
hard.
the foot off the pedal.
Yeah. Well, let's dive in and listen to what Holgerson had to say yesterday in his press conference.
A couple days ago, you said that 37-0 loss 2 years ago was the worst defeat you've ever sustained in your career. Does this feel like payback?
We rectified that in the first half.
I'm surprised the way Skylar was able to hop back up after that illegal hit.
No, that dude's tough. I've been saying it. He's tough. He's scrappy. Happened in the bowl game too, if you remember. he's a tough kid that plays hard. That type of stuff gets him going, which is why I learned early in his career here. Take the yellow shirt off of him and let him play football in practice at times because it's how he needs to play.
I feel like Michelle hit the hole a little better.
Did. He got challenged pretty good this week and responded. That's the dude that we know he can be. So he was pretty determined. He ran harder, and I don't have stats or anything. I don't know what he ended up, but I felt like he was determined. His mentality was good. He practiced really good towards the end of the week and was ready to go.
Outside your locker room, is it time maybe for people, media, public, or whatever, to start thinking that this might be a pretty good football team?
Oh, we're 3-0. We're where I expected to be. We felt like we could be 3-0 from non-conference, and we are. We know what's ahead of us, and it's time to refocus and start thinking about Big 12 a little bit. The next one's going to be at, Oklahoma. We're about to go into a 9-game stretch that is going to be pretty challenging. We get that, and we just need to keep improving, keep playing a lot of players, and line up and play ball and see what happens.
Well, you hear it there. He knows what's coming up. We're getting ready to go into what I think is probably murderer's row as far as scheduling wise. But I think the schedule lined up perfect for us as far as getting prepped to that point and getting ready. The schedule sort of ramped up, getting us ready to go on the road to Oklahoma.
Yeah, this is a young team still. Young on offense, a lot of inexperience. So the fact that they got sort of 3 games against, I would say, lesser opponents compared to the Big 12. I mean, we put up 44, 41, 45. This is really good. They needed a confidence boost. And playing Alabama in the first game of the year like we did last year, I mean, even though we did play well, you still started out 0-1. So here we sit 3-0. We're probably going to be towards the bottom of the top 25. We'll be ranked going into Norman. And, I mean, so far, so good this year.
Storming Norman. That's what I expect next week. I hope we go in stormtrooper style and just, toss the kids and the babies to the side and just, let's get after it.
Yeah, you've got. I think we're to the point now that to be a contender and to say you've arrived in the Big 12, we have to go in and win next week. And we'll get into our predictions after the show. But one thing I do want to point out for you listeners out there, if you have only heard 3 voices here today, we're missing another member.
Do we want to tell him where he's at, though?
Well,
I mean, do we want to tell him the real story or do we want to cover for him? Because I feel like if we tell a real story, it's going to be embarrassing because
we know our theory here on this show is to keep it real. So let's tell a real story.
Well, last night as we're leaving Morgantown, it's so embarrassing. Last night as we're leaving Morgantown, we're driving down the main streets there, and we passed a comic book shop. And Cam says to Lou and I, he says, guys, did you see that sign? They're having a Magic the Gathering tournament tonight. And, I think I really want to play. I feel like I could win this thing. So we had to take him to the liquor store where he picked up a really cheap, shitty bottle of vino. And
it was like $4. I've never even seen cheap vino like that before.
We had to drop that tool at the Magic the Gathering tournament. And I haven't heard from him today, so I don't know if he won. Cam, I sincerely hope you won, bro, because you blew us off again. And I hope to God that huge, what's that Hobbit movie? They had the sword from Lord of the Rings. They had one of those makeshift fake swords, the collectibles. That was the prize, and he said he needed it for his toy collection. So I'm really hoping that I hope you won, bro, because you just keep blowing us off. It's really starting to get old. You need to get your shit together. You're too old to be playing with toys, man.
Well, the last thing he said to us was, "Here, hold this wine, hold my gun. I got to run in here and get some wine. Take me to the comic book shop." I think that's the last thing I heard because I stopped paying attention to him at that point.
It was horrible. It's one of the most embarrassing moments I've ever been a part of in my life. But, if that's what you're into, Dungeons and Dragons, wizardry, and magic, if that's what makes you happy, I hope you won the tournament. I hope the sword hangs on your mantle proudly. And, just get back safe today, buddy. I hope one of those nerds who you met in your tournament can give you a ride home.
They can put you in the back of their broom and whisk you down 79.
Yeah, you're just an embarrassment to this whole crew. And it's really getting old having to tell these stories about how, you're just blowing us off to play D&D. We hate you.
Yeah, he didn't. We have an empty chair here today. So, Cam, big F you to you this week.
We should just start selling his seat. Just to let people come in here. And
that's a great idea.
Charitable donations, folks. Hit us. Let us know what you want to donate. Cam's seat will be here. There's probably some weird wizard Comic-Con shit he's going to next weekend that he won't make it after the Oklahoma game. So we can sell his seat. You can come in, kick it with us. I may even share my beers with you. I mean, you may have to pay extra for those. You may have to bring them, but we can work something out.
We'll give you some beers. So speaking of sharing beers, I thought yesterday the tailgate, for those of you that stopped by, and once again, we got to thank our friends at Bogey's down at Hurricane and Scaff Construction, Doug Scaff, and man, it was, like I said in the beginning of the show, it was the perfect weather day. It was the perfect football day for me. I mean, I had a hell of a good time, man.
Yeah. It's so nice when you win 45-6 after a day of being out in the nice weather, and I'm just so happy we're 3-0 and we curb stomp Maryland.
Yeah, I crushed a few barbecues and I I knocked back a few Heinekens yesterday, that's for sure. And I was feeling good, man. I went down, was down the field and ran across. I got to talk to Amos Zaraway yesterday. And he said he wanted to let you guys know he appreciated us letting him come on the show. But let me tell you, and I'll post a picture of him. He had the fucking nicest tie on yesterday. I thought about asking him if I could buy it off of his neck, but I was like, man, I'm going to find that tie. I don't wear a lot of ties, but and I told him too, I was like, I'm getting that tie and I'm going to wait a year. That way nobody sees where sees us.
You don't look like a poser who's just biting other people's style.
Bro,
it
was the nicest golden blue tie.
Find your own tie, Lou.
No, man.
Stop it.
Well, that's how it works, man.
There's a whole world of ties out there, and you're going to go buy the same one that Amos has.
It was so nice, man.
It's not going to look the same when you as
probably
it does
not,
Amos.
Because, Amos Amos looks like he could play. Still, he's still jacked.
Could.
But, man.
He's a chef. He's eating right.
Yeah.
He knows how to cook.
What a great day for him, man, to be inducted into the WVU Sports Hall of Fame. They had the 75 Peach Bowl team there.
Bobby Bowden
was in the house.
And I got to briefly, when Coach is on the field, they're just whisking him on and whisking him off. But if you stop him and strike a conversation up, he will be very cordial.
Saw a lot of old players down there yesterday from my seats in 97. It looked like Pat, Steve, Owen, Hackett. There. Was the missile Ricky Sherrod down there?
I didn't see Rick, but I did have a conversation with him and he talked about the show. Sean's listening in New Jersey, and he mentioned and he brought up the fact we were talking about Carl Joseph being one of the hardest hitters, and he wanted to make sure. He's I want you guys to know
he could stick.
He's like, I got a lot of love for Carl, man, but he's like, me and Ricky Sherrod hurt some people back there.
I'd like to see them in the Oklahoma drill against each other.
Ooh,
Rick and Carl, where the players lay down, you blow the whistle, and then they pop up. You mangle each other up in the middle. I'd like to see those two go man to man. I think that'd be a hell of a tournament 10 times. I may put my money on Hackett.
How about John Flowers owning the dance game?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
They broke that.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know if Flowers owned it because there's a guy in my section, Jay, who really hit the whip in Nene, and he had a couple of Maryland fans in front of him. And when they hit the stanky leg, Jay was basically bouncing his meat off of the Maryland guy's head. So the stanky leg turned into Jay grinding his stuff on the back of the guy's head. And the dude really, he turned around a couple times and looked at him, and Jay may have the greatest whip in Nene that I've ever seen. I'll give that to Jay because Flowers owns the Dougie.
Yeah, there we go.
And the Wolf of Wall Street thing is taking over.
Yes,
I love it.
I played it twice
awesome.
yesterday.
You know what gets me though? There's still people when that plays, they look at you and you're pounding your chest like they don't know what's going on. How do you not turn around and look at the video board if you're sitting in the crowd?
Well,
I don't get it.
Here's the thing. It takes a lot. It takes fans sometimes a long time to kind of catch on. But I think Chris Austin, he's the producer up there for the video board, and I talked to him about it. I think maybe he listened to our show and heard that we're on to that, and it's growing on. It's growing on me because
it's huge.
They got rid of Seven Nation Army, which I'm thrilled about.
Seven Nation Army is fucking everywhere in college sports. It's at high school games. It's everywhere. It's played out. So if you're doing the Seven Nation Army thing, don't be like Lou. Don't bite other people's styles like he's stealing ties. Find your own shit and make it your own. Stop playing Seven Nation Army. It's 6 years old. We all hate it. Find something new.
Yeah, man. So the Wolf of Wall Street was on point yesterday. And like I said, man, and I keep just saying it was the perfect. I woke up this morning. I wanted to go out and have a few beers last night, but I dozed off in the car. And so I got up this morning and, we're already cracking them open. It was just a carryover, and it was just a perfect
carryover
day.
For you. I didn't have no carryover. I had to fucking drive home.
Well,
a miserable drive.
Maybe what we'll do is we'll just put our money together and get a driver and a Section 304 bus.
Let's buy a short bus and then paint it up and make it into the tailgate special. That's what I want to do. I want to buy a Frito truck and make it into my tailgater.
Well, we could do that.
I'd love to. If any of you would like to donate to me buying a Frito bus, please send all donations care of Matt Durrett, Section 304. Thank you.
Well, let me tell you, though.
Make my dreams come true.
Again, perfect football day. And how about our boy, fucking Brad Paisley, kicking it off yesterday? They let it leak. They kind of let it get out.
You got to let it leak because the way that ticket shit runs now, You try to go into a 3 o'clock kick sometimes at 2:25, you go to get in and you don't make it until after kick, so you got to listen to Paisley from standing in the ticket line. Get it together up there with the way you're operating your ticket scanners. You can have more than one in the door and rush these people through. It's just bullshit.
Well,
If you didn't catch it, I missed Paisley. Thanks a lot to the lady scanning tickets so damn slow and taking your time. And then you tell people they're in line for the suites, but you don't have a suite line up, so you kick them to the back of another line. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I did notice there was a shitload of people.
It was tough getting in yesterday.
It takes students like 2 hours to get into the stadium.
Yeah, that's true.
It really grinds my shit. It pisses me off is what it does. I don't like it. I'm upset about it. I missed Paisley. I was standing out front because you only have one scanner at each door. You're a big-ass university. Everybody pays huge money for those tickets. You get 2 to 3 scanners at every door and get the tickets going and get them into the game. This is just, it's ridiculous.
There you hear it. Shane Lyons, if you're listening,
get it together, bro.
Yeah, well, and I think that's going to change. If you notice, they're doing construction. All that's going to change.
Yeah, they're redoing all that.
Oh, well, let's wait until the season starts to start our construction.
No,
that's really
they're not supposed
fucking
to have
intelligent.
They're not going to have it ready for until next year. But Brad Paisley kicks it off.
It was great.
And that was only the second time anyone's
Tom
ever
Denver did it first.
Right. Second time anyone's ever performed Country Roads in the field.
I couldn't think of anyone more worthy to do that than Brad Paisley. To me, he's like our celebrity fan, and he is a real fan too.
Yeah.
He just doesn't put on a ball cap and get in front of TV.
No, he's running numbers for you.
He
like on
referenced
game day.
the Fiesta Bowl when Notre Dame beat us, and I thought it was great yesterday.
So what we'll do is I pulled a little sound. We're going to hit the break here. We're going to take it out. We're going to let you guys listen. And if you guys are on our social media, you can swing by our Facebook page and actually see the video. But here's a little audio sample of yesterday. Here's Brad Paisley doing Country Roads into the break. Do you love West Virginia? Check out Home Furnishings by Bearwood Company. Log into bearwoodcompany.com and put West Virginia pride in your decorating design. The Bearwood Company, always home. For the best in vintage advertising signs, World War II collectibles, collectible vinyl records, and coins, check out our friends at Red Fox Antiques and Collectibles in Scott Depot, right off I-64, exit 40. This isn't your grandma's antique shop. This is a mantique shop. For more information, check them out on Facebook or give them a call, 304-757-9589. The Dell Sparks Collection. Dell's documented WVU sports for over 30 years and features the greatest moments in Mountaineer history. Check out his magic moments from Major Harris, Pat White, Tavon Austin, and so many more. For all of your favorite Mountaineer moments printed and framed, visit dellsparks.com or give him a call, 304-296-6004. The Griffith Law Center, PLLC, a Charleston-based law firm servicing the entire state of West Virginia and parts of southern Kentucky, specializing in serious injuries, wrongful death, and wrongful termination. The Griffith Law Center. Now you have a friend that's a lawyer. Call today for a free consultation at 304-345-8999 or give them a visit on the web at protectingwv.com. For all of your web and graphic design, go with the best. Go with our friends at Loggerhead Designs. They're true graphic professionals. Anything from business cards to high-end websites. They can handle it all. The next time you need your ads to really pop, head over to loggerheaddesigns.com or call 910-541-0143. And welcome back, everybody, to Section 304. And hitting that break there, how about that rendition of Country Roads by Brad Paisley? And one of the things I forgot to do going into that was announce our Dell Sparks Collection winner, our score prediction winner of the week, Kendra Gray. She predicted a 42-7 score yesterday. She basically nailed it on the head without going over. So Kendra, you will receive a 8x10 from the Dell Sparks Collection. We'll be getting
a hell of a collection.
Yeah,
that's a big get right there. That's a really good collection. I've got a couple of those in the basement.
Well,
Crum has one.
Yeah,
Crum
I got
has
Mike
one.
Collins.
there's some good stuff.
Crum has
next.
said that's the centerpiece of his man cave.
It is.
They should be.
Prized possession. So, Kendra, you've just got a prized possession for your woman cave.
Well, one of the members in the Dell Sparks Collection is our next guest. Brian Jozwiak is joining us via the phone. And if you don't know who Brian Jozwiak is, one, you're not a Mountaineer fan. But if you don't know, I'll give you the quick rundown before we welcome him in. 1985 Consensus All-American. Was the seventh overall draft pick.
I was about to
First
say,
round.
man, you pushed him way down there. Jesus.
First round draft pick, seventh overall draft pick by the Kansas City Chiefs, and probably, and we'll let him dive into it. I'm going to say this might be one of his crowning professional accomplishments. Just celebrated 25 years of his annual golf tournament at the WVU Children's Hospital. Brian, welcome to Section 304, my friend.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. I've wanted to give you the 304 for like weeks, and it's a hot ticket, man.
Well, we wanted to get you on for the Maryland week, my friend. You know, obviously you're from the Maryland area. Can you tell the listeners a little bit about? And you guys used to play a tougher Maryland team.
Yeah, Bobby Ross coached them. They had boomer size, and they were good.
Can you talk about what this Maryland game means to you guys and the players and the people in the Maryland area?
Well, it's a border war, for one thing, and that in and of itself says a lot about the rivalry that's created. And, you know, for me personally, along with, you know, quite a list of names, you know, Maryland's always been a pretty good recruiting area for us. And, you know, for me personally, it's a big one. It's a big win because, you know, I kind of got recruited at Maryland. Jerry Claiborne was the head coach at that time, and they ran the old wide tackle six. They wanted me to play defensive tackle, and you know, they recruited me a little bit, but I think Jerry Claiborne was a little doozy. You know, he'd call my house at like 5 o'clock in the morning and, you know, tell my dad not to let me go to school because it was icy conditions and, you know, didn't want to slip and fall. My dad's like, "Guys, you're flat." I give a football coach anyway, you know, born in West Virginia, you know, and being from Baltimore, it was always a bittersweet battle. And of course, back when I was playing, Maryland was an outstanding football team. They're still an outstanding football team. They just got their ass smashed yesterday.
That's the way to do it, too.
Say ass, yeah.
Yeah, you can say whatever you want on this show, man.
We're uncensored, man. We're uncensored.
Yeah, it was an ass.
Anyway, it's a great victory, and anytime you're out there in the recruiting wars, when you can beat those teams that you're going to be recruiting in those territories, that's a chip up, no doubt. And it's a Big 12 versus Big 10, big conference battle, and to get that one in the fashion that we did, Andy, like you were saying earlier before we got on this thing about being one of the best collegiate atmospheres for a football game yesterday in Morgantown. That was, it don't get no better than that. And then to get that big win, it's huge. It's huge for our program. It sends a message, and it gets our guys ready, for the next hurdle in this thing.
Hey, Brian, this is Matt here, man. I was just wondering if you could just talk about the draft, being the 7th overall pick, coming out of Morgantown. That's not something you see a whole lot of. And you were in a pretty good draft class with Mr. Bo Jackson being there. And if you could just talk about the draft and maybe tell some stories from that time in your life.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's a long time ago already. I mean, this is my 30th year, 2015, 5 was my senior year. So 30 years ago, a college fifth-year senior, and everything ahead of them, getting into the time between getting back from playing in the Hula Bowl and then going and doing all those All-American shows and doing the Bob Hope show and going to the Yale Commons for the Walter Camp All-American and doing all those things. And then all of a sudden, you're flying to this team or that team to get a workout in for them, because they're figuring their draft time and what they're going to go after and build in their draft wall, for that day. And all of that was just it was an incredible experience, that time frame, to be. After playing football, to be even considered to play at the next level, that's what any college football player, aspires to. That you're busting your butt to work hard, to do this, to do that. And to finally actually be in that position was a special time. And of course, my draft rating was very high, and Bo Jackson was coming out that year, and there was a considerable number of offensive linemen that year. The first being taken ahead of me, Tim Dombrowski was from Virginia, and he, by the way, had one of those 12, 13, 14-year careers. And great draft class for offensive linemen in that '86 draft, and the draft itself. I mean, at 9:30 in the morning. The draft type is a lot different today than it was in my day. I mean, I think ESPN was just like in its infancy.
Right.
And there was no such thing as, the big draft day thing and all that. I was in a hotel room in Philadelphia with the guy that was representing me and family. And 9:30 in the morning, the phone call came in. Kansas City's going to take you. And, the corks popped. And we were having a party, and at 2 o'clock that afternoon, I went to a Phillies game, and we were sitting in the stands right behind home plate, and all of a sudden there's a camera next to me, and I'm up on the diamond vision, and the first round draft choice, Jozwiak, section 2, crowd went nuts. I think this is freaking unbelievable.
No.
I mean, what a thing to be able to have done. I look back on that so long ago now. It's like a whole lifetime ago, And but let me tell you, it gives me a lot of plume when I consider the fact that I got to represent West Virginia football, and that's what, and even represent Baltimore, my hometown. But I didn't become a football player until I got under the Tuck Snealers to the league and really realized what lifting weights meant, and Al Johnson and all these guys. They're all the ones to pick and get credit, for putting those programs together.
Now, you said the cork was popped, but I've actually hung with you at some of Lou's Blue Gold barbecues, and I've never seen you pop a cork, but I have seen you get the enormous beer stein with the Crown and Cokes. So when did you make the change from popping corks to the oversized Crown and Cokes is what I want to know.
Champagne. You gotta have champagne to celebrate. Something like that. My mom don't drink Crown, so I have the champagne. You know what I mean? I'm a Crown drinker. You mentioned.
Yeah, and not only just a Crown drinker, but you drink them in those big 32-ounce glasses.
Well, if I drink one, it looks like I'm holding a little tiny shot glass. Big hands, big glass.
That's right.
Just, it's the way it is. Oh, my God. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Yeah, I'm good to talk about it, and I usually don't. You know what I mean? Just in general conversation during the course of my day. I'm living in the moment and looking forward to tomorrow, and stuff that happened 30 years ago, I don't get to talk about a whole lot. But in these moments when I get a chance to reminisce and step back in time and get into them shoes again, but let me tell you, it gives me it's a rush. It's a real nice boost to the ego once in a while. To be able to share with folks that never got to do that. I don't think there's many guys out there I've ever talked to that wouldn't have loved to have had a chance to walk the walk that I got to walk.
Absolutely.
And I'm still in the walk, still on the all knows where it's going, but I'm on it.
I hear you, brother.
I got my sickle out in front of me. I'm just cutting my way through. I'm one of them ones that, I guess that was Leland's headache with me, because I wasn't much of a follower. I kind of blazed my own trail and put the pedal to the metal and my dad taught me at a young age how to compete. And competition in any life is how we survive on this planet. And if you can't compete and you don't like the taste of victory, then it just ain't worth it in what I believe. And you can take that and apply it to anything. It's all about competition. And I just love to compete. Always had loved to compete. And got to West Virginia for, those years. We won a lot of football games, went against 4 bowls in a row, beat people that we were never supposed to have beaten. And, of course, that laid the bricks for, the next generation of great players to get us where we are today. And, it's fun being a part of that. It's a great feeling to have known. And I promise you that the fans of West Virginia football, West Virginia athletics, but West Virginia football fans are special. They're and it was fun for me to give them those wins and let them share in those wins. And the heads taste better after victory.
Hey, Brian, this is John. I was just going to ask you, the offensive line coming into this year for West Virginia was, I guess, a question mark. How does this team how does the O-line continue to improve and build cohesiveness so we can continue to beat teams 45-6?
Well, I tell you, I got to hang out a little bit this summer with Ron Crook, and I've known Ron for, oh my God, as long as I've been around coaching. I've known Crook for a long time. He's a heck of a daggone coach. The guys love the guy because he's one of us. You know what I'm saying? And offensive linemen are different than any position on that field because it's a group. And you use the word, cohesion. That group has got to be in tune with each other and be willing to truly have your backs. And when you can get that going, and you can get a rotation where you got a little bit of depth, that if you're not one injury away from going, oh my God, now what? Mm-hmm. You got some depth going, which we do. So long as they're working and they're studying and they're getting better every day, that's the heart and soul of the team. If you don't have a line to control that line of scrimmage, then you have to rely on other aspects of the game that become less controllable. It's good to see that those guys are doing well. I got to visit with, of course, the golf tournament that was mentioned earlier. After 25 years of Mountaineer football players coming and playing during the summertime, you get to be around these young men at a different time and a different place and a different setting, and you get to really be with them. It's not just that fan thing. It's we're from the same mold here, and you get to talk to them. And the offensive line guys this past year had this I don't know what the word is. I'm trying to find it. Like a really rejuvenated passion and belief that this was going to be the year that they were going to make a statement. And,
right.
By God, we're making one, aren't we?
Absolutely. Hey, Brian, one of the things, and I've heard you tell this story, but I wanted you to share it with the listeners out there. I heard you tell it this summer, and you talked about just a few minutes ago the big wins and what they mean. And one of the big wins that you guys brought to in the early Neyland years and in your time there was when you guys came back, and actually Matt and I, when we drove back from Morgantown last night, we listened to the play-by-play to the 1984 Boston College game with Jack and Woody. But talk about that game, and you've told a couple of great stories from that. But talk about that game in that era, beating Penn State, beating Boston College, and what that was, how that was coming about in those times in the early Neyland years.
Let me build up to the 84 season with the fact that Coach Neyland and his staff, got in there and turned the corner very quickly by beating Florida in the 81 Peach Bowl, and then turn around in the opener against Oklahoma and going out there and kicking the crap out of them guys. Spritzer and his crew all slick back thinking that they were just going to walk all over us. And Mickey Walzak and Oliver Luck and the rest of that crew had a spectacular game. I remember Keith Jones was the left tackle playing against a guy named David Galloway. Galloway was supposed to be one of his great football players, and Keith just kicked his tail all over the place. And we came back with that win and turned around and go on the road to Oklahoma, which back the 82 Oklahoma. If you look at Oklahoma in the early 80s, they were like Nebraska. They were like, anyway, to beat them, those two games kind of started the whole steamroller. And then, we went to a whole game, 81, 82, 83, and then the 84 season. The 84 season probably being the first real glimpse, I guess, at national prominence. I think at one point in time we rose to maybe number 4 in the polls, and the fact that 1984 Doug Flutie wins the Heisman. He's one of the best in the land. Never beat West Virginia ever.
That's
You can take that one and worry about that to his grave. He never beat West Virginia, and when we played them in that game, of course we were down. We were down at halftime.
Right.
And, we went in at halftime, and Coach Dillon laid it out there, man, and said, you just don't understand, boys, what this is going to mean when you win this football game. Among other things. And we took it out there, and of course our defense just cranked it out. We put pressure on that poor guy, and he ran around like an idiot. And of course we scored. We scored enough to win, and the goalpost came to the ground. The stadium, oh my, I got so much juice right now. I got goosebumps that are like 2 inches thick. Holy crap. And the place, it's nuts. I mean, it was pandemonium. And the very freaking next weekend, that famous October freaking day in Nottingham history, first game under the lights, the defending national champion freaking Nittany Lions come to our house.
Right.
And we sent them home packing with 38 seconds or 34 seconds left on the clock. The goalposts are on the ground again.
Yeah.
And it's just, at that moment, we were finally getting some recognition. Of course, those battles took their toll. Defensively, the next couple of weeks, we were so banged up. We lost to Virginia, and then we lost to Temple, then we lost to Rutgers, and of course, we kind of fell out of that top echelon, and we were going through some incredible internal issues as well. A lot of finger pointing, a lot of fractioning in the locker room, and we were trying, but it wasn't happening, and there was all kinds of rumors about things. I can remember particular newspaper articles that came out about the dissension in the locker room and all that crap. And of course, we were just a bunch of guys that we were trying, but we were down to 13 guys at some positions, and everybody was banged up because we were 7-1 at that point, and should have never lost to Maryland. Those freaking bastards, they called us offside. Encouraged me. They missed the first hit, but we blocked it.
Yeah.
And we should have beat them, and they freaking gave him another chance, and he put it pretty upright, and we got out of there with a loss. But at that point in time, we were 7-1, and just right there at looking at national prominence, and we fell short. And I'll never forget, real quick. I'll just never forget. Coach Dillon. Team meeting. This was after the season, and we were waiting for bowl bids. And of course, back then, in my time, there wasn't 4,000 bowls. 200 million people got to go to a bowl game. You better be 8-9 wins, or you can't go. And we were right there. We had 8 wins at that point in time, and no, we were 7-4, weren't we?
Yeah, at that point.
Yeah, we were 7-4, and that Blue Bonnet Bowl called and wanted to put us against TCU. And Coach Dillon had this meeting, and he dismissed the coaches, get the coaches out, and it's him and the team. And he stood up in the front of that ring and he said, "Now look, here's the deal. You guys got 15 minutes to figure out how we're going to approach this. And if we're not going to approach it to get out there and kick the dog crap out of those people, then we're not going." Because after the last couple of weeks of preparation and losing we lost to Temple. Are you kidding me? We lost to Temple. And he looked at everybody's eyes and told the seniors and the captains, you got 15 minutes. You guys figure this out. Otherwise, I'm going to call back and tell them we ain't going.
Right.
We're going to get in, we're going to do 2 days. We're going to get after it. And of course, angle.
And the rest is history. Well, listen, hey,
Freddie Smalls was the first one to stand up. And, you know, in that South Philly hardcore boom boom Smalls
Freddie, yeah.
said, what the heck are we doing? We're supposed to be a team, and it was like throwing gas on a fire. All of a sudden, there was a whole room full of guys just hugging on each other, and you know, so again, you know, blah blah blah. And point you, the rest is history. We went down there and kicked the crap out of anybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was so funny. The horn turds.
Hey, well, listen, hey, Brian, my friend, I want to thank you first of all for coming on to the show. I know we talked this summer about the show, and I promised you I'd get you on, and I always love your perspective of the stories and the things that you share. And for the listeners out there, I do want to take a second and personally thank you on behalf of the show and the people of the great state of West Virginia, and to say thank you for all the great stuff you do at the WVU Children's Hospital. And I want to say thank you for coming on the show, man. It was great catching up with you. And I'll be in touch, and I'll keep posting pictures and trying to keep you up to date, because I know you're busy down there in Florida with your own stuff going on. But thanks for coming on to the show this week. And thanks for sharing some of those great stories.
Hey, anytime. I appreciate it. I'm glad you guys are doing this. And anytime, and, you know that, buddy. I love you. And you know, look forward to the rest of this football season. And you know, hope we can do what we are poised to do.
All right, Brian.
Appreciate it, fellas. Hey, thanks. You guys have a great Sunday.
All right, my friend. I will be in touch very soon. Take care, ladies and gentlemen. That was Brian Jozwiak, former All-American here at West Virginia. You know, Joe's talks like Hulk Hogan. A little bit. A little bit. You know, and if you've ever seen or been around Brian, he's a big dude, man. But
He's a great dude to be around, though.
His heart is so big. Brian's raised over $250,000 for the WVU Children's Hospital. 25 years of that golf tournament. And if you're listening out there, people, I'm telling you, Google Joe's Knows Kids, Joz Knows Kids, or the WVU Children's Hospital, Brian Jozwiak.
Again, like I talked about last week, I think the boss stole his whole demeanor from
The boss stole
Joes.
the Jaws's
Yeah.
haircut.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Because if you go and Google some pictures.
You know the difference between the two, though? The Joes wasn't a poser. He could actually play in the NFL.
Yeah.
The boss just went on to star in shit B-list movies like Stone Cold. Huge difference there, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't seen Stone Cold, though, I mean, maybe check it out. I don't know. I watched it when I was like 8 or 9. I really don't remember if it was good or not. I just know he starred in it.
No, it sucked. Well, here's what we're going to do, folks.
Let's do the beer of the week.
Let's get it, man.
Let's do it.
All right, Diddy.
The beer of the week this week from me.
Well, hold on. Before we get to this, here's how this guy's got beer cans lined up.
Maybe I've had a couple. You know what? When you're the driver, when you have to drive home from Morgantown, Dick, then you can count my beers. Until you have to drive home and deal with that shit I dealt with last night, you don't talk anything about the beers I got lined up right now.
He's already popped the beer of the week.
I've popped 2 beers of the week.
4.
I did do that. So, you know.
No sound effect. Well,
whatever. My beer of the week, it's going to go to my guy who's got me eating a shit burger every day. Mr. Skylar Howard. Big numbers, dude. You're looking impressive. I like it. I respect it. I dig what you're doing. I also want to give a sip of the week to Nick O'Toole for the fake punt.
Kickers.
Yes. Back to kick.
Back to kickers.
I was dissing kickers earlier this year, earlier in the first show, and here we are.
What am I thinking saying sip? I mean, beer chug of the week goes to Nick O'Toole. I just took a big chug of that, so it's not sip. I'm not Cam over here. I'm not some queen drinking vino. Chug of the week. Chug of the week. Beer of the week.
And back to Dana really kind of just pissing on Maryland. You call a fake punt, and you're up that big. I love it. I was laughing my ass off, and those bastards deserved every bit of it.
Randy Edsel can eat shit and fall back in it. That guy's a tool. He's been a tool ever since he was at UConn. He's a pile. It's only a matter of time before he gets fired. Maryland's an embarrassment. Will likely can't cover Shelton. We kicked the shit out of that team. Send them packing. Get them out of here. See you in 2022, ass faces.
Well, while we were talking to Jozwiak, you guys were pulling some stuff up on the web. The poll is out. So what? Break the news, folks.
I think we slipped up in there, Crumb. I think we snuck into the polls this week. We broke in. And if you want to go ahead and break it to where we're at, I'll let you do it.
19th.
19! We're coming in. I mean, we weren't even ranked last week. We beat the brakes off Maryland. Now we're coming in at 19. You're looking at Oklahoma at 15. Storm Norman, kick the shit out of them, and let's keep climbing.
I still think we're flying under the radar, though. A win this weekend, and I think the whole country takes notice.
But if you look
we know
back,
we got a pretty good team.
And if you look back, we've always done the best when we fly under the radar.
Absolutely.
I love it. I like coming in under the radar. I like being the underdog. I think this defense is really special. We didn't even really talk much about the D today. 5 picks yesterday. Forced fumble.
My play of the game was Terrell Chestnut chasing that guy down.
Yeah, fumble in the one. Yeah,
I mean, just
never give up. He's not giving up. I think this team this year has got the attitude of they'll come in and they'll take your underdog role, and I think that we're going to bitch slap quite a few teams this year, and I look forward to maybe breaking one off on TCU this year on a Thursday. I think that's our game.
The secondary was incredible yesterday. We didn't get to talk much about that. I mean, they had 5 picks, but even on the passes Maryland completed, they were in position. I mean, there has not been blown coverage that I can think of this year.
Do you think maybe they challenged the defense? Because, coming out of the Liberty game, everyone was finger pointing at the defense.
Liberty, you can't get up for Liberty. And this defense knows exactly what they are. Yesterday, we get 3 sacks. We get the pressure on the quarterback.
Well, Maryland hadn't given up a sack all year.
Yeah, and we got what you saw yesterday is the full package for that defense and the way they're expected to play. That's what everyone expected from that D coming into the year. And I think it took the fact that they got supposedly a real team lined up in front of them who's not kind of a pushover or a cupcake team or whatever you want to call them, and they showed out and they played well, and the secondary did what was expected, and the line, I think, overperformed.
And Gibby dialed up pressure, and it worked. It was effective. We had 3 sacks, but we were all over their quarterback. I mean, you got to give the defense an A+.
Yeah, one of the things coming into this game that I had been kind of observing was if you put some pressure on that quarterback, he was going to kind of throw it to you. And Gibby, I thought, did a great job dialing it up yesterday, that's for sure.
The team looked really good. The whole team all the way around. I mean, the second half was kind of
Well, you got 38 to nothing. It's hard to
you kind of lay back. But I thought it was a hell of a game. I'm glad that we covered. I'm
really glad we covered.
Yeah, I think most people should be glad we covered. I don't have the karaoke.
I have the over. The over's 57.
There you go.
We had 38 points at half. I was riding high, and then
Crumb's making money.
I lost money.
That's true. We didn't do 57. We didn't do 57. Did you not bet us at the 16.5?
I did. I got
okay. You made a little money.
Yeah.
You made a little money. I never ride over unders. I don't like that because if you get up too big. But I got to be honest. I haven't been gambling a lot. I don't have the money to gamble. I just don't have it to throw away. I can't do it. I want to. I want to gamble so bad, but I can't. Maybe next week. I tell you what, I think this week I get paid. This week may be the week I break out of the non-gambling. And I take us going into Oklahoma. I don't know what the spread is, but I'm going to go ahead and throw my prediction out there. We're going to win a tight one. 28-24. West Virginia.
I like us. I think we're going to win 38-27. I think we're going to. I'm really confident. I think we're going to win. We're going to beat Oklahoma. They switched offenses. They went from more run-based to they're back to doing air raid, which they did at the beginning of the Stoops era. And I don't know why you wouldn't hand the ball off to Perrine 100 times
Stoops
a game.
Is a tool. That big game, Bob Stoops. He can't ever win the big one. The guy gets there, but he can't win it. I know their quarterback. He's going to
dial up some pressure. We're going to get some turnovers, and we're going to shock everyone. The nation will be on notice once we win in Norman.
Well, like I said, I don't think you've officially arrived in the Big 12 until you beat Oklahoma.
We have not done that yet.
So
should have beat them at home.
Should have, would have, could have. My ass.
Skunk Patch caught a touchdown in the corner. The only guy on the team I'd prefer not to beat is Skunk Patch catches that touchdown. I think I puked after that game. Could have been from the booze. Could have been from Skunk Patch. I'm not really sure. I don't remember. Some years ago, but. I think we win Saturday. I'm looking forward to sitting on my couch and not driving any of you dick faces anywhere because driving just isn't fun. If I sit on my couch, I can have all the beers or shots that I want, and I don't have to worry about going anywhere. So I get to watch the game, have a little peace and quiet. And like I said, I get paid Friday. Maybe who wants to kick in on a bet with me? Let's get some big parlays going. You guys, let me know. Maybe I split one with you, but maybe I take 3/4 of the money if we hit it. So you got to know that going in. If you want to bet with me, I'm going to take the bigger half of the money.
Well, early in the season, I didn't look at this game as a win for West Virginia. I'm not going to be real honest with you. But the way our defense is playing and Skylar Howard has been solid, I'm changing that one. Man, I think this is it. I think this is the year we go into Norman or just not even go into Norman. I think this is the year that we beat Oklahoma and we can finally say we've arrived in the Big 12. And here, I think I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think we're going to handle Oklahoma. We're going to beat Oklahoma by 14.
Lou is on the bandwagon.
No, I'm on the Skylar Howard bandwagon and the Smallwood bandwagon and the Shelton Gibson bandwagon. We got a lot of weapons.
I noticed you left a name out of there. Whose bandwagon you're not on? Let's hope he gets retired, Mr. Shell.
I'm not going to sit and smash kids, but
I'm not smashing him. I'm saying his performance has been underwhelming, Lou. Don't twist my words.
And then this is where I think you're missing the point. Is yesterday he played. He did what we've been wanting him to do all season, so I don't know why you're shitting on him.
Yeah, he ran total yards.
He ran north and south this
5 yards a carry.
You're just pissing on his leg, just like you were on the William Crest wagon.
Still on the William Crest wagon, so he's back.
And he's still on the bench.
His day will come. I have a question. If I hit that score prediction right, do I get the Dale Sparks stuff?
You don't get shit.
Because I want those pictures.
Dale, if you're listening...
I want the one of Beasley.
Diddy wants the Aaron Beasley picture.
The Aaron Beasley, arms up, last game in Mountaineer Field. So if you're listening and you could somehow gift wrap that for me, Christmas is right around the corner. I take early birthday gifts. I do accept, I just accept gifts in general. So Dale, if you want to give me that picture, maybe you could cut me a price. I don't know the deal, but I just want to know, can I win the fan of the week or the score prediction if I hit?
Well, get on there and do it. But are you going to let me give my fucking prediction? I've been sitting here trying to give my prediction.
You already gave it. You said we were going to win.
I didn't give the score.
I thought you were still thinking about Amos's tie.
Well, that's next. When I get home, I can look that baby up. But I think we're going to win by 14. I like us.
I like us,
Lou. It may be more. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a few points. I'm going to go 31-14, West Virginia. Norman.
Their defense isn't that good.
No, but it's on the road.
Yeah.
This is our first big road test. I think we're going to kick their dicks in the dirt and call it a day.
Anybody want to go in on a keg? Should I not solicit that invite? I love kegs.
Well, if you want to jump in on a keg party with Durrett, or if you want to become the Bearwood Company Fan of the Week, send us an email to section304wv@gmail.com. Go ahead and send that in. If you're wanting to throw a party with Durrett and he get a keg, I think he'll maybe even throw down on the grill with you next Saturday.
I like the grill.
Or if you want to be the Bearwood Company Fan of the Week, send in your pictures from your tailgates this weekend to that web address. And we do have a Bearwood Company Fan of the Week this week. And it's
who do we got?
Emma Hindman of St. Albans sending a great picture. There's a big group of these kids. They were all tailgating. The whole families are in there. I saw it was a great photo. We got a lot of good photos. Yeah. A bunch of them came in this morning. I don't know if you guys dialed into the email, but we got a lot of great photos. Keep the photos coming week by week, even if you don't get named Fan of the Week. Keep them coming. And
we try to post some of them to the Facebook page.
Send them in anyway because we put them in on our social media sites.
Yeah, we like to let people see the
koozies.
The logo is being shown all over the state. If I could get my words together right now, maybe I have had too many. Fuck.
What? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Don't count. It's not for public knowledge how many I've had. Maybe I have had too many. I don't know. I've not got a lot of sleep lately, man. Fuck off. Leave me alone. All right. So before we go, I have to say thank you to my pops for letting me use his truck.
Yes.
We took it back. It was spotted out. It was immaculate this morning.
Thank you, Mr. Durrett. That was a lifesaver.
It works.
Yes.
I love it. Love you, Dad.
It. But I think it's a consensus here.
Mountaineers are going to win.
We're going to roll next week.
We're going to roll.
We're not going to roll. We're going to go into Norman. We're going to come off the plane in some combat fatigues like the U back in the day, and we're going to kick the shit out of the Oklahoma Sooners. You heard it here first. Be ready, people. It's going to happen. If you want to get a keg or you have a keg and you want to let me come drink with you next week, you let me know. I'm ready to party. Eat shit, Oklahoma. We're coming up the boards in the top 25.
And you've heard it here, folks, right here on Section 304. But once again, thank you to everybody that came to the tailgate yesterday. We appreciate it. And thank you for dialing it in and listening. See you next week.
The producer for Section 304 is Steve Adams for SAA Productions. SAA Productions specializes in affordable, small-scale audio and video projects. Wanting to jump on the podcast bandwagon? Call 304-299-1234. That's 304-299-1234. And don't forget to check us out on Facebook and on Twitter.